Laughter is a weird thing. You can't do it on command. Try right now. Just laugh. Go ahead. Nothing, right? Because laughter isn't a reaction to something funny, it's an ancient signal, and Neanderthals were using it hundreds of thousands of years before anyone came up with the first joke. So let's figure out how laughter actually appeared, why it even exists from a survival standpoint, and why Neanderthals, who we imagine as grunting brutes with clubs, almost certainly laughed just as hard as we do. Let's start with the basics. Neanderthals weren't our direct ancestors. They were more like our closest cousins. We split from a common ancestor roughly 500 to 700,000 years ago. Then they lived across Europe and Asia until they disappeared about 40,000 years ago. What exactly happened to them is a whole other story. For a long time, we painted Neanderthals as dumb animals. Hunched over, no emotions, no inner life. That image has nothing to do with reality. Neanderthals buried their dead. They wore jewelry. They used pigments. Basically, they painted themselves. They cared for injured members of their group. We know this because archaeologists found skeletons with old, healed fractures, injuries that simply couldn't have recovered without someone else helping. That's not an animal. That's a creature with a social life, and a social life without some form of communication is impossible. Here's where it gets interesting. To laugh the way we do, you need specific anatomy, mainly a flexible larynx and a tiny bone called the hyoid. It sits at the base of your tongue and gives you control over sound. Neanderthals had one, and it was almost identical to ours. That discovery in the late 1980s flipped everything scientists thought they knew. Before that, the assumption was that Neanderthals could only make primitive sounds. Suddenly, it became clear. Anatomically, they were capable of much more. Then, in 2007, scientists found that Neanderthals carried the FOXP2 gene. This is the gene directly linked to speech and language in humans. Mutations in this gene cause severe speech disorders in modern children. Neanderthals had the same version we do. Does that mean they talked? Most likely, in some form. Maybe not with our grammatical complexity, but they could absolutely communicate with their voices. Okay, the anatomy checks out, the gene checks out, but why do we think they laughed? Because laughter didn't start with humans. It's much, much older. Rats laugh. Seriously, if you tickle a rat, it produces ultrasonic chirps, around 50 kilohertz, completely inaudible to us. But if you slow the recording down, it sounds like laughter. And the strange part, rats tickle each other and clearly enjoy it. This was discovered by neuroscientist Jaak Panksepp in the late 1990s. Chimpanzees, gorillas, orangutans, they all make a distinct sound during play. It's not exactly our laughter, but it's its evolutionary ancestor. Open mouth, rhythmic exhales with sound. Researcher Marina Davila Ross studied this across different primate species and showed something striking. The closer the species to humans, the more their laughter sounds like ours. Neanderthals weren't just a close species, they were almost us. Their brains were actually slightly larger than ours. They had complex social structures. So the basic system, laughter as a social signal, was definitely working for them. Now here's the strangest part. Laughter isn't a reaction to something funny. Laughter is social glue. British anthropologist Robin Dunbar, the same guy who came up with Dunbar's number, the maximum number of people a human can maintain real relationships with, ran a study on laughter in groups. He recorded conversations in bars, cafes, on the streets, and here's what he found. Most of the time, people aren't laughing because someone told a joke. They laugh because someone nearby is laughing. Or because laughter itself creates a sense of closeness. Laughter releases endorphins, the same chemicals released by physical touch. A hug and a laugh hit the brain in a similar way, biochemically speaking. Now picture a Neanderthal group. They need to hunt together, share food, defend territory, raise children collectively. Trust within the group is literally a matter of survival, and laughter is one of the fastest ways to build that trust. Not because someone told a funny story about a mammoth, but because they played together, roughhoused a little, relaxed, and laughter marked it. We're fine. We're safe. We're on the same side. Picture this scene. Evening. A cave. An adult Neanderthal and a child messing around. The adult tickles the kid. The child squirms, tries to get away, and makes rhythmic sounds, somewhere between our laugh and heavy breathing. It's not language. It's a signal. I'm okay. I trust you. This is play. The rest of the group hears it, and they relax. The tension drops. It works like a safety indicator. That's exactly why laughter is contagious. Evolutionarily, the brain is wired to respond to the sound of laughter before you even consciously register what you're hearing. Scientists found brain regions that react to laughter automatically. It's a reflex, a very old one. There's another piece of this that's easy to miss. Laughter almost always comes with play. In children, in chimpanzees, in wolves, in ravens, play and laughter are inseparable. And in Neanderthals, same thing. We know they made objects that weren't tools. Bones with carved marks that had no practical use, probably decorative or play-related objects. Neanderthal children played, and where there's play, there's laughter. But here's the key thing. Play is rehearsal. Animals play to practice hunting, fighting, social roles. Laughter in that context is a marker. This is not a real threat. This is a game.
Without that signal, puppies would fight for real. Baby chimps too. And Neanderthal children, same. Laughter literally says, I'm attacking you for fun. Relax. We interbred with Neanderthals. This isn't a theory anymore. It's confirmed by DNA. Most people on Earth outside of Africa carry between 1 and 4% Neanderthal DNA. Some scientists suggest that through this exchange, we may have inherited some of their social mechanisms, including certain patterns of laughter and empathy. That's still a hypothesis, but here's what's certain. We didn't invent laughter. We inherited it from creatures who lived in caves, hunted mammoths, and, by all evidence, laughed just as genuinely as we do. Here's what gets me about all of this. Laughter is considered one of the markers of humanity. We tend to think that humor, joy, playfulness, these are uniquely human things, that they separate us from other animals. But laughter is far older than that. It's older than our species. It's older than Neanderthals. It goes back to a time before words, before fire, before tools, just living creatures who needed to be near each other, who needed to signal, everything's okay, I'm one of you, I'm not afraid. And every time you laugh with someone, you're doing exactly what a Neanderthal did by a fire 60,000 years ago. Laughter isn't about humor. Laughter is, I'm here and I feel good next to you. That's all it ever was.